Seems to be working now. So just a minute, I will share the book. Here we go. Share the book. Let me just confirm that I have that here. So now I am cool. Here. And here we are. And just reduce a bit. Today is 13th of December 2022, and we will continue our study. We have stopped here where it is highlighted last week, 2 weeks ago, really. There's work for everyone, from the regions of the earth to our very gates. May Lord,
Gilliam, I'm sorry to interrupt. We stopped further down. We read the last week. We read it together with Raphael.
Oh yeah, sorry. That's true. That's true. Can you show to me where it is?
Yeah, you can scroll down. I think we finished that entire chapter.
I forgot that last week I was with COVID. So it's a new chapter today?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Ebony.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. Raphael, if you're there.
I'm here.
Uh-huh.
I didn't take notes, so I'm glad Ebony did.
Very good, very good.
My bad.
So, chapter 25, a generous initiative. Early the following morning, we shared a light meal. Let me just highlight it here, a light meal in the spiritual world. In Lysia's home. So the spirit also has a home, a roof where he can stay. As her children were about to take their leave and to go off to their jobs, Laura announced to me cheerfully, I have arranged company for you today. Raphael, an old friend of ours who works in the Ministry of Regeneration. Here we go, Raphael. You may have a job over there too. We'll call for you at my request. You may accompany him to the ministry, and there he will introduce you to the minister Genesius in my name. I could find no words to express my gratitude. I was radiant. Lysias was also pleased and embraced me warmly on leaving. On kissing her son goodbye, Laura recommended that Lysias tell the minister Clarence that she would be along as soon as Raphael came for me. Her generosity touched me deeply, leaving me tongue-tied with emotions. When we were alone, my devoted hostess addressed me kindly. My brother, new paths are opening to you today. Since your mother doesn't live with us here in Astro City, I hope you won't mind my taking her place in this moment to offer you a little motherly advice. Indeed, I am most grateful, I exclaimed. Moved, I shall never be able to express my extent of my appreciation for your kindness. Laura smiled and added. I'm just reading through because I don't see anything that picking my attention, but if any of you want to talk about anything or highlight anything, please feel free to do so.
If you scroll down a bit, I think she's going to be giving him some advice about not prying. I'm thinking that we read all of that too, but just to make sure, can you scroll down a little bit?
Don't disappoint me, Ebony.
I'm going through it, so I'm pretty sure
Yes.
we read this.
Yeah, we did all
Yeah.
of that. Instead of giving vent to your curiosity, studied it. Yeah, we read all of that.
So, where should I read from?
Scroll down some more. I know what I'm looking for.
My God, you guys read a lot. Really?
Okay, so we have to go back up some more. I think it was just after the first set of advice she gave him. Yeah, to pry into one's neighbor's occupations without possessing the due credentials. Yeah, I think it's around there we stopped.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, even if it's not, now will be. We'll read again. All right. To pry into one's neighbor's occupation without possessing the due credentials of good service might be considered a great impertinence. Numerous failures in material achievements have their roots in such anomalies. Everyone is ready to be a spectator, yet rare are those willing to accomplish something. Ooh.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you guys read that?
Yeah, we stopped around there, so we can start here this week.
So what do you think about that, Ebony?
Well, she was giving him some advice, you know, just to let him know that you know, often sometimes we tend to pry into with our curiosity. We always want to know about people's problems and how they get there. But rarely are we interested in wanting to help and to doing the work to assist the person. So I think in a way that's what she was saying here.
But I would extend that sentence to something else. Many people are prepared to act, so to speak, only as spectator. I want you to start a study. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. Well, I have a very good idea. I'm hoping someone will catch my idea and do something with that. That is in life. That's on the Spiritism. That's at work. Because we always try to be an spectator because it's comfort. It's comfy, you know? I'll let other people try. If it works, good for them. If it doesn't work, I can make my comments. I can make my judgments, you know? So the great majority of us, we are more comfortable as a spectator than someone doing something. I tell you what, we used to have meetings where people used to have lots of ideas, right? And we decided to do something a bit particular about that. Everyone that had a good idea, we would give all the support the person needs, even material support, to allow the person to put in practice his or her idea. Guess what? I can count in a hand how many times one good idea left to the paper and became reality. Because a lot of people are like that. I really would like to do something. I really think you should do something. And yet I don't do anything.
There's also another aspect to that too. There are people who are spectators. Yes, they stand on the sidelines. And when they're invited or asked to participate in the work, they would say yes simply because they are asked, right? And they'll continue in the work out of a sense of commitment to what it is that they signed up to do, but their heart is not really into it. They're not really interested. It's not what they want to do. So you would ask me to come to a study, and because I want to be polite, or because I think maybe you might think differently of me if I say no, I show up. But really and truly, my heart is not into it. It's not really what I want to do. So that still makes me a spectator. Until our hearts is really into something and we do it simply because of the love of it, that's when we're going to accomplish meaningful things. And I think too, that's what she was trying to say.
Are you trying to tell me something here, Ebony? Yeah, but yeah, I agree with you. But in such a case, it's just a matter of time. The person will kindly be busy that particular day, you know, once in a while, and then become more frequently until the day he or she will feel comfortable not to show up anymore, you know. Yeah, but you are right. Let's go on. Nothing but edifying work and those. Oh, sorry. Go on, Raphael. I saw your hand.
Sorry. It's just to say that this is just my personal opinion, that every time a group of people decides to change something or do something good, and that creates a force, and that force creates a vibration, and that vibration goes against whatever negativity is contrary to what they are creating. That's why people find it difficult to act, and sometimes easier to be an unexpected and an spectator than just go there and accomplish it, because you're fighting against a very strong vibe of something against what you want to do.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. And we also have examples of people that did not accept or did not want to start something, but when someone started, then became havoc, you know. Oh, well, this is not right. Because deep inside, the person would like to, and perhaps was missing the will or the opportunity, or was shy, or, you know, for so many reasons. Interesting. Interesting. The good thing is we should not be spectators. Well,
Agree.
I'm shy. I don't care. Move. Like we were discussing the other study before today. Don't miss an opportunity. You don't know when the next bus will come. If you lose that bus, especially today because it's a strike, you may be in a cold weather outside. And that's not good. That's not good. Yep. Let's move on. Nothing but edifying work endows the spirit with indispensable merit to claim any new prerogative. Two things got my attention here. Work, new prerogatives. If we go to our boss asking for a pay rise, for example, if we are very good workers, we have a chance to have our yes back, right? But if we are bloody lazy, we don't do anything, or even if I'm not lazy, if I decide to do just what is sufficient, my chances are not the same, I guess. So in the spiritual world, it's the same. if I want to be granted a bit more, I need to work a bit more. I need to take my chances, use the opportunities, even if I feel like I'm not prepared. Because this is the main excuse most of the people have. Oh, I'm not prepared. I need to study a little bit more before I do something. This is an excuse. So we need to take our chances and try at least. There is plenty of hard work in the ministry of regeneration because the lowest region in our spiritual colony is located there. All groups of generous entities entrusted with the most arduous missions are recruited from its working staff. It's funny the way that we still have a hard time to understand or to accept the information we have from the spiritual world. But here, clearly show to us an organization. And this particular ministry, as they call, there are staffs, there are functions, there are a whole level of organization to make things work fine. But those lowly tasks are in no way humiliating. Remember that in all our planets, from the Earth to the highest spheres, in the most spirituality evolved zones, in relation to the planet Earth, the greatest worker is the Master Jesus himself. And he wasn't ashamed to wield a heavy saw in a carpenter shop. Minister Clarence has kindly allowed you to learn, analyze, and appreciate these values. But you may, as a wise worker, convert this period of observation into a stage of useful service. A lot of people really give a massive incentive to people to study. Is that right? Yes, that's right. But we should not study a subject for 10 years before we think we are okay to start to practicing. In the reality, we're going to study for the whole life because we will know little or we won't learn everything anyway. But every time we have an opportunity to practice, we should grasp it. We should take that opportunity. So he's saying here that his advice here to Andre is, regardless that you're there to study, if you do make yourself useful, do it. Don't miss an opportunity. Those in authority may justly refuse a request for some special line of work whose practice is legitimately reserved for those who are duly qualified for it through great efforts and much suffering. But they will most certainly accept cooperation of the spirit of goodwill from those anxious to serve in any capacity. Well, if you go to a hospital, we have surgeons, we have doctors, we have nurses, we have practitioners. Do what you can do. You know, you don't need to be the top gun to be top of the class. But there are other activities you can do.
I also noticed that the qualifications that she pointed out were great efforts and much suffering. You know, sometimes we think of to be qualified to work in the spiritual realm is probably to have, you know, a certain amount of intelligence. And that may not necessarily be the case if we are able to understand the suffering of others, because we ourselves have been through much suffering. That is possibly an area that we can qualify to work with.
Mm-hmm. Not only through our own sufferings, but every time you go to a place that is very unpleasant, if I can put it this way, you are suffering. If you have to go to a place where the atmosphere is very dense and you cannot breathe normally, this is suffering. And every time a group of spirits go to a lower zone to help others, this is not pleasant. There is a level of suffering. So you can also extend that comment to that sense. You know? Every time, for example, you go to a hospital where you have a lot of people with, let's say, any disease, you're exposing yourself, perhaps even getting something. This is suffering. We learn through suffering. We may acquire knowledge through books, through lectures, but we only learn when we practice. And quite often, when we start to practice, the hardest tasks are given to us, because that's the way it is. When you just be employed by a company, do you think they're going to put you in the CEO chair? Not at all. Lucky you if you start to serve coffee, because then you can have a coffee for yourself from time to time. Sometimes you're not even allowed to do it. And you start gradually, slowly, until one day, yes, you can sit in a comfortable chair. So that's the way I see that suffering. These words, spoken in an affectionate motherly voice, sunk into my heart like soothing balm. Seldom in my life I had met such a deep brotherly interest in my fate. Deeply affected by this wise exhortation, I listened with moist eyes, as if anxious to temper the seriousness of her warning. Laura added encouragingly, "The ability to begin anew is one of the most sublime lessons we may learn. Very few indeed are those who fully understand it, and extremely rare are the incarnate men who distinguish themselves in that line. We must remember, however, the name of Paul of Tarsus, a learned member of the Sanhedrin, and the hope of his people, and enjoying an enviable position in Jerusalem. One day retired into the desert to begin his human experience again as a humble weaver. I could no longer contain myself and took both her hands in mine like a son and covered them with my grateful tears. Lysia's mother, gazing into the distance, spoke softly. Am I also grateful, my brother? I believe you weren't brought into this house by a blind stroke of fate. We are all bound by secular ties of affection. I shall soon return to the physical sphere, but we shall continue united by the bonds of our hearts. I hope to see you busy and happy before my departure. Laura is saying something interesting here. Nothing happens by chance, right? So he ended up in her place for some reason. And she even considered that they may have ties in the past. Whenever we die, we all hope to be together with our current family, right? We want to be together with our mother, our father, our son, or whatever. But this incarnation here, what if we get together with our families from 3 incarnations ago? We may not even recognize them straight away. But if we start to understand the family as a universal family, things may be different. Whenever we die, not necessarily we'll be together, right? Because we are bound by our vibrations, by our actions, by our thoughts. Perhaps I am in one vibration, my wife is in another vibration, my son is a different vibration, up, down, doesn't matter. Perhaps we will not be able to be together. But we'll be attracted to those that are in the same vibration level. And perhaps to someone I was married 3 incarnations ago. Perhaps I will be with my son from 4 incarnations ago. And perhaps I don't even recognize him because I won't be able to remember everything. Perhaps Andre and Lysias and his mother, they may had some relation in the past. Is that really important? They were treating him as a family anyway. So we need to keep those possibilities as something we may encounter when we move to the other side, right? And I remember, yeah, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say that some of us are born into into a family with members that doesn't vibrate on the same level. And those are, well, I know in my case, when I first came across that doctrine and that kind of principle in Spiritism, it gave me hope. Because, you know, sometimes you're born into a family and you think, oh my God, I'm a complete stranger. Nobody understands me, or I don't belong here. But then when you think of the fact that you've reincarnated so many times and you must have had family members from different lives who perhaps may be reincarnated on other planes, or they are discarnate, it gives you hope and it makes you feel like you still belong to a part of a universal family. So, you know, when I think about that, I think about myself and other people who feel that way.
You are in the right place on the right time. You were born in the right family. You deserve what you had. You will deserve what is coming. So there is no chance. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason. Sometimes we don't like very much. I don't like my brother. He's not my brother. He has been switched on the maternity or something, whatever. But there's a reason. There's a reason. And understanding that my family is more than my earthly family makes things better. Because now when you start to lose your temper with someone you don't know, you may think, ooh, well, you know, why that's happening? Perhaps this person has something with you from the past. And now you're having an opportunity to make amendments. And of course, you don't know that. But your temper, every time you get closer to that person, you're about to burst. Why is that? Maybe there's something from the past. And now is a great opportunity to fix things now. I know you want to talk. Go on.
No, it's not anything new. Go ahead.
Okay. Please remember that this house is your home. Work with God, cheers, and put your trust in God. Sorry, work with good cheer and put your trust in God. I raised my eyes to her kind face and experienced the joy that is born of a pure spiritual friendship. I had the impression of having known her as a devoted friend for a long time, although I tried in vain to place her among my earliest recollections. So here again, another indication that he does not have a recollection, but he feels in his guts that I know her. It's not now. It's not something for now. And it happens to all of us. We don't need to die to have that kind of feeling. Sometimes we meet someone and I like that person, you know, I know that person. And the opposite is very true as well. I hate that person. I cannot tolerate that person in the same place as I am. And things like that. So he's giving an indication that possibly they were together in the past. Grateful, I felt like kissing her again and again. But just then, there was a knock on the door. We were talking about home, house, and door. How can one spirit knock on the door and make a noise that the door, someone is outside? How is that possible? Because I thought as a spirit, when I tried to knock the door, my hand would go through it.
But not only that, why does he need to knock the door? Why can't he just go through the walls?
It seems that he cannot, right? It seems that he cannot. So we have something to do a research here. We can spend some time trying to find a little bit why that happened. But I'm not going to go deeper in that one here, but it was just more to get your guys' attention on this one. But yes, why you cannot go through the wall? Why you need a wall anyway? You know, I'm just a balloon of gas, right? With a look of maternal affection, Laura said, "It must be Raphael coming for you. Go now, my friend, and think of Jesus. Work hard for the good of others. It is the only way you find your own." So now we move into chapter 26, New Perspectives. Turning over the wise suggestion of Lisa's mother's in my mind, I left with Raphael certain that I was about to begin not the prospective visit of observation, but a term of apprenticeship and useful service. I know, well, something came to my mind here, right? But not repeating myself, but every time you go to a place to learn something, to observe something, try to have a look around to see if you cannot do a little bit more than that, you know? Look what he himself was saying about useful service, you know? I noted with surprise the imposing beauty of new district we passed through on our way to where I was to be introduced to the minister Genesius. I was not in my usual inquisitive mood. I experienced instead a form of mental activity which was new to me, and I followed Raphael in silence. Wrapped in fervent prayer, I besought Jesus to assist me in these new ways, so that I might not lack work and the strength to accomplish. Ah, dear. A lot of us, we truly ask for the opportunity to work, for the opportunity to help. Oh, Father, allow me to help, allow me to do charity, allow me to blah, 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 blah. And when the opportunity is coming and knocking our door, oh, not today, could be tomorrow. Can we start at tomorrow? Oh no, I'm traveling. Oh no, I have just now, I have a match, football match on TV for the World Cup, and oh, I'll do that study tomorrow. In reality, we should always ask for more work and for the strength coming from the top. Of course, everything needs to be done with balance, all right? We need to also work to survive. We also need to look after our families and blah, blah, blah. But we always have time to do everything. Adverse as I had formerly been to the practice of prayer, I now turn into as a valuable sentimental mainstay to my determination to serve. From time to time, Raphael cast a curious look at me, as if he did not expect such an attitude on my part. The airbus stopped in front of the large building and we descended in silence. In a few minutes, we were shown into the minister's office. Guys, just one comment, quick comment here. Things like Airbus, blah, blah, blah. You know, we were talking about that we did talk about that a few times already. So I'm not know if everyone here on this room have been through the previous study. So if you do have any question, please feel free to raise your hand or even open your mic and make a question or comment, okay? Genesius was an affable old man whose countenance revealed uncommon energy. Raphael introduced me kindly. Oh yes, said the gracious minister. So this is our brother Andre. At your service, I answered. Laura has told me about your coming. Please don't stand up ceremony. Meanwhile, Raphael respectfully took his leave and gave me an encouraging handshake. He left hurriedly, as he was urgently expected at his work. Genesius then turned his clear eyes to me and said, Clarence has already mentioned you with interest. The Ministry of Assistance frequently sends groups of its residents on visits of observation, which, as a rule, are transformed into periods of service. I understood his subtle allusion and replied, that's exactly what I greatly desire. I have prayed for these divine forces to assist my feeble spirit, so that my stay in this ministry might also be converted into a period of apprenticeship. My words seem to have touched Genesius. Well, let's talk about his action here first, you know. His deed was to go there to learn something, right? It was not truly to start to work on something. But he saw an opportunity. He decided to do today what he could do in a month's time. So he moved faster. He did one step ahead. So I think, that's my personal point of view, I think we should always try to do an extra step whenever we are ready and we have condition to do so. Like that, if I do a step ahead, I can do a few other steps earlier, and that's always positive. My words seems to have touched Genesius. Therefore, availing myself of the moment, I begged them. Worthy minister, I realize now that my passage through the ministry of assistance was due exclusively to God's mercy, perhaps in answer to my devoted mother's constant intercessions. But I also realize that up to the present moment, I have received innumerable benefits without offering the least useful retribution. I jumped that here, but I think it's important to mention. We cannot alleviate the burden of someone. We cannot transfer our knowledge to someone. But we can always intervene, asking for someone we love, for example. What he's talking about his mom here is that his mom, through her capacity, through her amount of work in good things, she was allowed to intervene for her son. Can she protect him? I don't think so. But she can ask for opportunities. She can ask friends to give a little push. And that we can do ourselves to everyone. If I am a devoted servant, even here on earth, and I help many people, surely I'll have a credit somewhere. And if I ask to help someone, for example, perhaps this credit that I have gained over the years can be put in action. On the spiritual world, it's the same, right? Her mother is in a different plane and she was asking to help her son. And I think that was important to mention, because sometimes we think that our prayer does not help or we cannot ask for anything, but sometimes we can. Surely my place is here amidst the redeeming activities. Please, if possible, let my permission to visit be transformed into the possibility to serve. Now I understand as never before the urgent necessity of redeeming myself. Never let anything to do tomorrow if you can do it today. I have wasted too much time in useless vanities and misspent a tremendous amount of energy in ridiculous self-worship. He noticed that I was speaking sincerely. When I had asked Clarence for work, I was not yet clear on what I wanted. I had certainly wanted to work, but perhaps not to serve. What is the difference between work and to serve? Any idea?
I think work could be like coming here and start work as a doctor, and to serve is to being like a cleaner, for example. You are serving, you are doing a lowly job. You work as hard as if you were a doctor. That's how I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
I think of it differently. I think work is more working to earn something with the anticipation that you're going to earn something, but then serving is more giving of yourself and not expecting anything in return and being more selfless.
I think you both are right. And one thing completes another. And came to my mind a meeting we had yesterday that one spirit was surprised that we were not asking anything in return. You're not going to charge me anything. How's that? you know? And yes, I think if we get both answers from you, is a perfect explanation for what that means. I had not yet realized the value of time, or learned to appreciate the sublime blessings of opportunity. I will just highlight it here. I won't mention anything because I'm repeating myself. I suppose the truth of it was that I really wished to continue being what I had been until then, the proud and respected physician. I slaved my preposterous claim of self, imprisoned within my own opinions. Now, after all I had seen and heard, and realizing the responsibility of each child of God in the infinite schemes of creation, I gave utterance to the best there was in me. At last, I was sincere. I was not in the least worried about the kind of work I was to do, but really anxious to start it out in the sublime spirit of service. He looked at me with questioning eyes. Are you really the former doctor? I wonder why he was asking that question. Yes, I am, I answered timidly. Genesius was silent for some time before speaking, as if adjusting himself to my unexpected attitude. Your resolutions are most praiseworthy, he said at last. May the Lord help you to adhere to them. And as if anxious to raise my spirit to the new hope, he continued. When the disciple is ready, the Father sends the Master. The same occurs with work. When one is willing to serve, he never lacks opportunity. Do you guys believe in those sentences? I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I think it's like any opportunity. When you are ready, things happen. You just have to listen to it, pay attention to it as well, not to let it go by. But I do believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. Bob Marley have a lyric in one of his songs. He said, "In the abundance of water, only a fool is thirsty." And it could mean the same thing. I mean, we always have opportunities around us to work and to serve, but only when we adjust our attitude, we have the correct attitude to it, will we actually see it. You know, but the opportunities are always there.
I don't believe you brought Bob Marley to our study. That was something.
Everyone is welcome.
That was really something, I tell you. In our case, my friend, divine providence has been extremely generous. You are eager to serve. You understand your responsibility and accept your duty. Such attitude is undoubtedly leading you to the accomplishment of your wishes. On the physical plane, many applaud the person who attains financial prosperity or an outstanding position. Here, however, the case is different. To us, comprehension, effort, and sincere humility are the things that really matter. One spiritual friend mentioned several times to us effort. Everything we do with effort, it pays back. Everything we do with effort, we will achieve. Perhaps not the material side of it, but we will achieve. So if we do something without effort, yeah. But if we do something with effort, the return of what we are doing is far greater. Is far greater. Sensing my anxious expectation, he added, it's quite possible for you to obtain work. However, for the time being, it would be wiser for you to frequent our numerous departments to observe and study their different activities. This is wise, isn't it? You don't jump into something that you have no idea how to do. You learn at least the basics. Then he contacted the next office saying aloud, I should like to see Tobias before he goes down to the chambers of rectification. In a few minutes, a gentleman with pleasant manners came into the room. Tobias, exclaimed Genesius courteously. He is a friend who came from the Minister of Assistance for a period of observation. I believe a visit to the chambers of rectification would be greatly beneficial to him. I offered the newcomer my hand, which he grasped firmly, saying affably, at your service. Take him with you, continued the minister kindly. Andre must become thoroughly acquainted with our different activities. Please see what he is granted every available opportunity. I am on my way there now, Tobias added obliquely. Some of the words are not easy for me at all. If you wish to accompany me, certainly, I answered eagerly. I took my leave of the minister, who addressed me with further inspiring words of encouragement. Then I resolutely followed Tobias, and together we walked along great city blocks, whose numerous buildings gave me the impression of busy centers of work. Perceiving my silent questions, my new friend informed, these are the great plants of the astral city. Here, over 100,000 spirits are employed. I highlight the word employed in the preparation of juices and in the manufacture of woven goods, and all kinds of commodities, while working at the same time at their own rehabilitation and enlightenment. In a few minutes, we entered in an imposing building. After crossing long galleries where numerous workers hurried to and from, we came to a monumental stairway leading to the lower floors. Let's descend, said Tobias gravely. Noting my surprise, he added solicitously, the chambers of rectification are located closer to the lower zone. On first arriving in the astral city, the unfortunate entities who are lodged here cannot bear either light or open air. That's why when we have our visitors to our mediumship meetings, some of them, they mention they cannot see anything. They cannot see the light. They cannot see anything. They were for so long in a place of darkness, a dense place, that they cannot be brought straight away into a place with light and open air. Let's think about ourselves. If we climb a very high mountain, in my case, I will die, of course, but you guys that are younger than me, when you arrive on the top of the mountain, you will feel like it's hard to breathe. Why is that? Because of the type of air, the purity of the air, the rareness of the air. It's the same for the spirits, right? Guys, I will not start this new chapter today because we have 5 minutes to go. Does anyone have any questions, any comment, anything before? We still have 5 minutes, by the way. So if you do have any comments, anything.
There's something that came to my mind, Guilherme. Do you think that because, I mean, he went there, instead of giving him work, he was like to observe everything he could. Well, do you think he was already being prepared to write the book later, Andrea?
I understand that first he had to fix himself. Some of the activities he has been exposed was mainly to bring him back to a level of equilibrium to allow him to do something else. But I believe that through the process, everything that he'd been through had a purpose, like all of us.
Yeah.
So I believed that the group of organizers who planned to have this kind of information brought to us on Earth, they were expecting some spirits to be able to do that job.
Okay.
He was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
He grasped the opportunity and he did. But if for any reason he had failed or decided not to,
There'll be someone else.
there was another one.
Yeah.
Right. So I think at this stage here, everything was already a preparation. Perhaps he was not even aware at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a preparation for what was about to come.
Good. Thank you.
Sometimes when let's think about us on Earth. Sometimes there's a little study here, a little action there, a little possibility of help elsewhere. And we don't think that are related. But in a couple of years' time, those little events that were not tied together, they will contribute to something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I would be here one day. And I never thought I would leave my city one day, the city where I was born. Going to the capital in my country was already a big deal. Nevertheless, going abroad was something, never going to happen. And here I am. I never thought that what I have learned, the little I have learned in the Spiritism back home, would help me here either. And here we are. You know? So everything has a purpose.
Thank you.
So I will stop here. Let me make a note. Otherwise, Rafael will not remind me where I stop. Next time.
Beauty.
Are you there? Oh, Rafael. 133. So let me see here. 133. Okay. So let me stop sharing my screen. And let's have a quick prayer. So we can have a good dreams tonight. Perhaps our good friends from the spiritual world will take us to a little excursion in one of the cities around the world so we can see. Who knows? So Master Jesus, how we will ever be able to thank you for that opportunity to learn about things that will help not only our current existence, but also when we return home. Thank you, my brother, for the opportunity to be here among friends from both sides, learning with this group, sharing our thoughts. And I would like to ask you, my brother, for your blessings to every home we represented. Give us the strength and the clarity to identify every opportunity that may rise in front of us. Give us the intuition to accept the moment and to move forward, always forward. Be with us today and always. So be it. So, thank you very much, everyone. Looking forward to seeing you guys in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.